My dears, here we are, moving ahead into June, and again, reminding ourselves that we're focused on empowerment, but this time with the focus on vulnerability. Because this month we are asked to look at this thing called vulnerability and to understand that all of us are called to protect the vulnerable, to safeguard the vulnerable. And so it's not something that you and I imagine, ponder very much all of the time or much of the time, because vulnerability, I think, is something that many of us, too many of us, think as a weakness, something that is less than, something that is an impediment to us in the outer world. But indeed it is not. It's nothing like that at all. Vulnerability is a beautiful, graceful thing, because it is that which enables you and enables me as a human being. Now, it is a human construct. It is necessary in a human being to display this characteristic called vulnerability, and to be comfortable with it and to be one with it, because it is that which allows us to have that connection with each other. It allows us to connect, to receive, to include, rather than separate and segregate and exclude. Vulnerability is a virtue that is so necessary in each and every one of us to be healthy and well and show up as that connection. Because what it says to us is that we are all interconnected, interdependent, interrelated, and that we all belong to each other, and we all need each other as human beings. We certainly do. And vulnerability is something that all of us experience all of the time. How we experience it is up to us. Now, vulnerability can be seen as a great strength, a great strength. And in its strength, it is awesome. It is awesome. It is that which touches the kindness and the mercy and the compassion within us. It is that which touches that desire to be the givingness of life back onto itself, to be the caring power and energy of life. It is that moves us by another's grief, and so on. If you go to the dictionary and you look it up, it'll tell you that vulnerability is about pain and woundedness, and that it is that which opens us up to moral and emotional criticism and manipulation. It is that which causes us to be tempted. It is that which causes us to criticize, and so on. The list is endless. But that's in its negative context. In its affirmative context, it is power, it is strength, it is a beauty, it is a grace. It is that which tenderizes the heart and softens the mind so that I can see a need, meet a need, identify with a need, and serve a need. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a good thing to embrace and to be okay with. Now, there's not one of us sitting in this room that has not been judged or criticized or wounded or pained or tempted or whatever. Not one of us. And we need to be okay with owning up to that. That's the way it is on planet Earth. We learn here by making a lot of mistakes. And we make mistakes when we fall fast asleep and forget who we are. That's how we make mistakes. We forget who we are, and we over-identify with the human condition. We over-identify with our human condition, and we think this is what we are, and it's not what we are at all. That's why we're here. And those of us who are engaged in spiritual unfoldment, however that is, wherever that is, with whatever group that is, if we are engaged in spiritual unfoldment, we have to get these fundamental basic things clear in our minds, such as vulnerability. and feel that's part of what and who we are as human beings, and it's okay to be vulnerable. It is okay. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to be vulnerable, believe it or not. And you and I get to be that all of the time. And as far as how we experience vulnerability will depend upon how awake we are or how asleep we are. So if we're awake, it'll be strength. It'll be awesome. It'll be connection, inclusion. It'll be all of that and more. But if we're asleep, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the opposite. Everything will be taken personally, and everything will be, a hurt and upset or whatever, and how could you do it to me, and blah, 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 blah. That's on the negative side. But you and I are called today to look at vulnerability as a grace and a blessing, and to embrace it as strength and power. Strength and power. Strength and power. Now that is empowerment when you and I get there, when we're not afraid to be vulnerable, when we're not afraid to say, I'm feeling a little vulnerable now, a little jittery now, a little uncertain now, a little insecure now. That's how I'm feeling right now, but I won't always feel this way. It's just where I am in the moment. And so being in this state, I may not be able to present myself as the best of myself just now, so maybe you want to have this conversation at another time or whatever. But to own up to it and say, I'm not in the best of a state at the moment, but everything passes and it won't always be that way. So if I come across as a little impatient, if I come across as a little bit snippy, if I come across as whatever, it's because I'm feeling vulnerable right now. And people, I think, are okay with that. They get it because they can identify with it. Yes? And then we can shore each other up, support each other, give each other a moment to breathe a bit more deeply and get our wits about us again and pull ourselves together. That's what we need in this world in particular right now. And this is the thing. All you and I are endeavoring to do is to just come home to the self of ourselves. That's all. That inner core essence of our being. Because we have the power, we have the presence, we have the truth, we have the all good, we have everything we need in order to accomplish whatever it is you and I came here to accomplish. And I believe at this time it's one thing. It's to be peacemakers. Is it not written, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God"? That's your name, peacemaker. Peacemaker, because you're already a child of the universe, a child of God. You are a peacemaker. That's your role, to peace build, to peace make. Oh, God help us all if you were to examine ourselves now and look at our chart with regard to how well we're doing. I think the graph could be a little bit higher on that one as far as peacemaking is concerned. I'd hazard a guess to say for all of us we could do better on that score. I believe we would. Blessed are the peacemakers, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, and they shall be called the children of God. Now, Francis had it a long time ago in Assisi, make me a channel of your peace, where there's injury, let me bring pardon, etc. You all are sort of familiar with that prayer. And it's a beautiful prayer. It's a beautiful intention. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me be the love. Where there is injury, let me be the pardon. Where there is doubt, let me show faith in the truth, and so on. That's to be a peacemaker, is it not? And that's what you're called to this week under the guise of vulnerability and empowerment. Empowerment, standing in the strength of understanding what it is to be a human being, but at the same time recognizing I'm only a human being for a breath. That's all. But always and ever, I'm a spiritual being. I am the spiritualized expression of the one life, the one power, the one presence, and the one infinite being. One, and it's all about that. And if I can show vulnerability from the point of view of light and love and compassion and goodness and kindness, then in that strength, I will connect, I will receive, I will include all of life to the table of my life, and no one and no thing shall be rejected. Because that's the way it is in truth. That is the way it is in truth. And yet here we are, bumping into each other all of the time, lashing out at each other all of the time, moaning and groaning about each other all the time, criticizing each other, and God knows what else we get up to. But it's a long list, my dear ones. But we could just tear that list up today and be done with it, and just know I'm a channel of peace. I'm a builder of peace. I'm a maker of peace. Everywhere I am, I'm supposed to raise the peace level. That's what I'm here to do. And yes, you are, and that's why all of us signed up to come here at this time. Because these are challenging times, have you noticed? Have you noticed? The kind of challenging times, best of times, worst of times, always the same way. And always the same challenge, and always the same conditions, and always the same response. And always the same cure. Love one another as you have first been loved. Do unto others good. Love everything, love everyone, love it all. Good, bad, and indifferent. Because in truth, behind all the appearances is goodness. Behind all the appearances is one life. That life is God life. That life is my life now. And what I say of myself, everybody can say of themselves. And all life is included without an exception. So look at us, my goodness, we need to get a giddy up here, and especially in our own country, and be a very good example to the rest of the world. We will not be divided, we will not be separated, and we will not accept that we are. That's what I'm knowing. Absolutely not. Every one of us should be able to sit down at a table with each other, regardless of our opinions, our views, and so on, and find some commonality. And it's going for the commonality that binds it all together and brings us all together. After all, an opinion is an opinion. And it's all opinion, really. And opinions have no substance to them, and they cannot stand. Only the truth can stand, and only the truth has substance, and the truth is that we are all one, like it or lump it. Now, we've been lumping it for far too long. It's time to open ourselves up to liking it and embracing it. It's absolutely anathema to me that we cannot sit down with each other and in peace and quiet talk about any conversation we choose to talk about. But nowadays that isn't so. With this political correctness, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. I should just matter what my opinions are about this, that, and the other. I ought to be able to have a discussion with you. You may be on the total opposite side of my opinion, and that should be okay. It should be okay. And we ought to be able to sit down and talk with each other. But I have people telling me I cannot open my mouth in my own family. Now, that's just not right, I tell you. It's just not right. It really isn't. And people avoiding each other because of different opinions. What sense does that make to a spiritually unfolding, individualized expression of the one life? None. And yet, we build the deepest of chasms between ourselves because of an opinion. For heaven's sake, where's the intelligence in that? And not only that, I am rock solid hard in my opinion, and I'll be darned if I'm going to change my opinion, because my opinion is the right opinion, and what's the matter with you for not seeing that? I'll go to my grave defending this opinion. And some people have. And some people have died for their opinions. It's time to stop all of this now and come together as peacemakers, bridge builders, interconnectors, and jolly well do what we came here to do and be the peace in the world that the peace needs now. Be the change in the world that the world needs now. Be whatever the heck it is in the world that the world needs now. And stop wasting our precious moments on this planet, wasting them away in some kind of ville, whether it's Politicalville or Margaritaville or whateverville. But we're missing out opportunities to know each other, to find each other, to see each other. Remember, all we're here to do is to come home to ourself, the self of ourselves. To find within ourselves, to be able to recognize that and identify with it, the all power, the all light, the all love, the all good within ourselves, the holy grail within ourselves, to come home to that. And by the way, this is a home we have never left. What's going on is we've fallen asleep in our inner home. And the life we're living is the dream we're having while we're asleep in our inner home, whether it be a nightmare or whatever. But when we wake up, oh, what a moment that will be. We're going to laugh and laugh and laugh ourselves silly, mightily. We are going to laugh so loudly and mightily that the whole cosmos will thunder with its applause that finally we woke up out of the dream and realized I'm safe at home. I always was. It was only a dream. So, my dear dreamers, my fellow dreamers, it's time now to break through that bubble of dream and release the power, release the peace, release the light, release the love, release that awareness that it's all okay. And every little thing is going to be all right. Absolutely every little thing is going to be all right because it's already all right already. That's what it is. How many times and ways can I remind us all? And very much myself included. We're not our circumstances, situations. We're not the lives we are living, regardless of what those lives are. We're more than that. So much more than that. And we can awaken. It is in our stars to awaken, dear ones. It is in our stars to awaken. Now, the choice is yours. The choice is mine as to when. As to when we're going to get up out of the dream sleep. And when we're going to take back our sanity, our honor, our power, and our truth. When are we going to do that? When are we going to do that? Now, we all may be sitting there and some of us smugly thinking, whatever. Some of us doubtingly thinking, whatever. Because let me tell you, with this thing called vulnerability, attached to it in the human context is a whole lot of shame, a whole lot of guilt, and a whole lot of blame if I'm viewing it on the negative side of life. Well, shame and blame and guilt is not doing any one of us any good, and it's certainly not doing all of us any good. So it's time to give up those games of shame and blame and guilt and be done with them. The past is done and over with. And your power doesn't reside in the past. Your power resides in one place only, and it's in the here and it's in the now. You get to decide now to be other than you already have been, to change it up for yourself, and to be the great self that you are, or not to be. That's the question. The great self of yourself or the less self of yourself. Every single choice you make will decide that for you. Every single thought you think will decide that for you, and every single action you take will decide that for you. To be great or to be less than. It shows up in the way we think, in the way we choose, in the way we feel, in the way we act and behave ourselves. Well, today the call is wake up and remember, wake up and remember you are the child of the universe. You are the child, the offspring of the Most High. You are the individualized expression of all that is the One, and that is your essential essence and your essential state of being. Is it to be continuously ignored? Is it continuously to be doubted? Is it continuously to be postponed? What is it for you? What is it for me? Is it time to get a grip? Is it time to take charge? It's up to you. Life can be anything you choose it to be, think it to be. Wouldn't it be a horrible, awful thing to arrive at a moment when deep within your heart you conclude, I could have lived a mystical, magical, awesome, wondrous life if only I had not been afraid to imagine it and live it. If only. Is that going to be what we're thinking when we're about ready to chuck it in here and go on and hopefully find something better on the other side of this? All up to you, all up to me. And remember, we all are given the same opportunity. Nobody is less than anybody else, and nobody's greater than anybody else. It's just how we interact with it all. So today I could wake up and remember, do you know what? I could do something really important in this world. I could really make a great difference in this world. I could really, really bring to the table every day something good in this world that would draw us all together, unite us all, and cause us all to feel good about life, good about living, and restore faith in humanity on the rise, on the uplift, humanity realizing itself and becoming more and more of its essential self, and integrating that beautiful humanity with the divinity that is ours eternally, everlastingly, always was and always will be. Could this be the day or the moment when you and I wake up to say yes to this? Because as peacemakers, you have said yes to this thing called life. You have said yes to this thing called life by coming in here, right now especially, and you have said, yes, I can do this, I can show up and I can make a difference, and darn it, if I'll be whatever if I don't. And that is the question. It's simple. Spirituality is bread and butter, ABC stuff. And if I don't have the ABC right, the rest of it never follows. If I don't put at least a third leg on the stool, it's not going to hold up. Try and sit in a two-legged stool. I have, by mistake. It's not fun. So let us all now come to our senses a little bit more fully and open ourselves up to, you know what, doesn't matter how, whatever it is my past is, doesn't matter what I'm feeling right now, I can indeed succeed and achieve and become all that I'm here to become. I can be it and then some. And trust yourself. Trust yourself. Start to love yourself, honor yourself, respect yourself. Feed yourself in mind, body, heart, and soul all that it needs to flourish and to thrive. And oh my goodness me, in no time flat, you'll be beyond walking on water. I can assure you if you do that. And furthermore, you'll be assisting everybody else to do likewise, simply by the example that you are when you show up Can you imagine if you show up as love, as peace in the midst of chaos? Can you imagine you'd be like a burning torch, a beacon of light and love and unity and harmony and oneness? Why not? Let's give it a try. And the only reason why the world is in the state it is because not enough of us have tried it. And that number may be smaller than we might imagine that is required for that to happen, like osmosis. Like Watson's 100 monkey. So, my dear ones, I leave you with knowing you're it. You've been tagged. You're it. You're the one. You are the one that will make the difference and no one else. It's you. It's you and only you. It has to be you. It really has to be you. And I kid you not. I kid you not. We're in urgent times. We really are. The clock is ticking. It's 5 minutes to midnight in human terms. And not that we should be worried about it. We say, well, I still have 5 minutes. And most of you in this room knows if it wasn't for the last 5 minutes, you wouldn't have gotten it done. And so let's be all that we can be and know that we're not doing this on our own. It is the power, it is the presence of the one within us that opens us up to release what already is whole within us and gets the work done. Lean into that embrace that's always embracing you. Trust that power and the creative process in your own life. Know that divine providence delights in pouring its givingness and goodness out upon you and through you, and then go forward uplifted, knowing that no condition can overcome that one power, and take the power to the condition and see if your life won't be transformed and transcended. And so it is.